big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping the deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping the deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me what the topic.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite goss and doc tender, that girl Henny, the independent, investigative, urban journalist. Yes, I am here. I am early. Y'all should already know. If I say I'm going to be here at 9:30, I'm going to be here at 9:15. Okay, if I say I'm going to be here at 8, I'm going to be here at 7:45. Or I might be a little late. You never know. But you should have the notifications on so you know when I go live. Now, I didn't want to touch on this because I felt like at the time when the verdict came down for Karmelo Anthony, there was already a lot of racial tension that was going on, right? And we saw how it exploded on the scene, how people were not bridling their tongues, how they were just speaking and saying whatever they were thinking, whatever they wanted to. And it was basically a hot earth mess out here in these internet streets. And it doesn't matter which side you were on. All we know is there was a pick a side mentality. And there are a whole lot of pick-me's that are going on out here in these streets. All right. It's a whole lot of pick-misha going on out here. And I'm tired of it. All right. Now, I was in here minding my business and I said I was going to take a break from going live today because I had a little bit of a headache, but I took me a BC powder and I'm scrolling on Instagram. I mean, not Instagram, on YouTube. And I don't know why these people pop in my live. And yes, I said these people because they're a part of the you people for me. One of the biggest issues that I'm seeing that is happening is that people who are of the Black community are out here with the coonery. Now, y'all lucky I ain't get to put up the thumbnail that I wanted to put up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show y'all the thumbnail that I wanted to put up because this thumbnail, it signifies everything for me. If you want to be technical, but I didn't think that YouTube was going to allow me to live another day in these YouTube streets with the thumbnail that I was going to put up. Okay. But it's a whole lot of coonery that is going on. It is heartbreaking. It is enraging and it is infuriating to sit back and listen to someone who is supposed to be a skin folk coming online and spewing racial narratives. Now, this was the original thumbnail that y'all was going to get. Let me take that down real quick. Did y'all see it? Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all saw it. I'll flash it again if you didn't. Now, what I can't understand for the life of me is why anybody would ever sit back and side with Jeff Metcalf, especially after everything that he said in the interview that he did over there with Sarah Fields. As soon as the gag order was lifted, I don't want to hear none of that coonery buffoonery going on over here. Talking about he was trying to make peace when he showed up at the press conference for the Anthonys. He was trying to say that it wasn't about race. When the first chance he got to make it about race, he made it about race. He made it about race. You can't get around that. You can't ignore that. Now, what I don't have is I don't have Metcalf pulled up where he talked about the baby mamas. So if somebody could find me that clip very quickly, I would be forever grateful to you. If you could find me the clip of him talking about the baby mamas where he called Karmelo Anthony's mother a bitch and a drunk and said that someone in Karmelo Anthony's family was the only person without a felony and that that's something that should be celebrated in your community. Can someone please I don't even know if this is the clip of it that I'm about to put up, but if somebody could please jump out and find it for me and send it to me, again, I will forever be grateful to you. Because these are the narratives that the sellouts are going with. So let's hear it.
I respect everyone until they disrespect me. I've been disrespected by so many people, so many times, while I've had to sit here and take it. I'm going to tell you right now, Charleston White, you think you're funny? We'll see who's laughing. Drew Anthony, you're a pussy and a coward, and you raised one. Kayla, you drunk bitch. What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My God, what kind of mother are you? Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened, how many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You're supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk. That's all you do. Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. You people hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
So you've already heard some of it, because there's still some more. I didn't even know that I had posted it. I was just checking to see if this was what I posted. Did you catch the you people in there? Did you catch the Kayla, you drunk bitch? Did you catch the disrespect? Did you catch it?
Let me make one up. Y'all can make let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you? I hope he enjoyed his first night in that cell last night, because he's going to have many nights to think about what the fuck he did.
Now, this is a completely different Jeff Metcalf than who's been showing up on Megyn Kelly with her lying ass, then who's shown up on Fox News and everywhere else that he's on his press run talking. This is a completely different Jeff Metcalf. Did somebody find the clip where he talks about the 8 baby mamas? Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find the clip. Blossom, don't start tonight. This is not the live for it. You will get put out. It is not AI. This was the actual live. I sat and watched it. So don't you come in here with that tonight. Don't come in here with it. Okay, I'm looking for it right now. I'm trying to see if I can find that clip.
Yesterday, had a death threat.
No, that's not it. Please give the word. I've been waiting to hit Blossom. Here we go. And here comes Keisha. Keisha, I'm really starting to believe that you are a particular person. Tonight is not the night for y'all. Y'all will get put the hell out of here forever. I will ban the shit out of everybody. I'm not in the mood tonight. So either you sit down and quiet it down, pipe down, or you're going to be put the fuck out of here tonight, because we're talking about some serious stuff. Did you not see the title of this? Now, I can't find... Is this it?
Coach called me and said...
No, I'm trying to find the clip.
Okay, Jeff Metcalf, father, and then family.
I'm trying to
story to try to. You wouldn't even show up for your son's sentencing or victim statement impact. You abandoned.
And let me just, okay, because I think I found it. So let me just go ahead and let me clear the air real quick. If y'all go back to when I sat down with Mel, I asked Mel about Karmelo Anthony's mother being in the courtroom when the sentencing came down. Okay? Mel explained what happened. In order for her to be able to give a victim impact statement, she would have had to have been in the courtroom because not the victim impact statement, she had to give a character statement. In order for her to say what she said on the stand, she had to have been in the courtroom. And after she said what she said on the stand about she believed that Karmelo was remorseful, and she asked the jury to please have mercy on my son, she was escorted out of the courtroom. But even if she wanted to come back in or not, she couldn't get back in. Once she was escorted out the courtroom, you couldn't come back in once you left out. So sitting up there saying you couldn't even sit for your son's sentencing. Well, guess what? Maybe she couldn't sit for her son's sentencing because who the hell can sit there and listen to their son have a sentence hand down to them of 35 years? 35 years on a first offense. Don't worry. We'll get into it. We'll get into all of this, okay? But right now, what I want to do is I want to bring y'all up to speed a little bit on some of the things that Jeff Metcalf has had spew out of his mouth that people who are the same community, the same color as Karmelo Anthony are aligning with these narratives. I hope he says it here.
Drew Anthony, Kayla, you're cowards. You wouldn't even show up for your son's sentencing or victim statement impact. You abandoned your kid.
How did she not show up when it was all in the same portion of the court hearing? Mel said, Kayla took the stand. She gave her statement. And she was escorted out by mistake. I do not believe that that was by mistake. I believe that that was done by design. I don't care what anybody says to me. After all that I have watched take place on this internet, racism still lives, thrives, and breeds in this country. People fell asleep underneath the illusion that it did not exist anymore, that we lived in this fairy tale of the land of the free and the home of the brave. Guess what? They're still lynching people in 2026. It's never stopped. It just stopped being televised. It stopped being reported on. It started being hidden. And if you don't believe me, let me introduce you to this young lady here while we unravel the tale of the coonery that's been going on. This 27-year-old Tana Nicole Miller, who wanted to spend Juneteenth in Florida, but on June 18th, she was found hanging from a tree in Gwen Cherry Park, Florida. Now, besides Gwen Cherry Park, Florida is in Miami. And thanks to Uniquely, I discovered that Glen Cherry Park, where she was found hanging from a tree, twisting in the wind, strange fruited, is in the heart of Miami, in the hood. Who the hell is hanging themselves in the hood? The fact that this story in itself is also disturbing because yet again, it's another Black person found hanging from a tree in the woods. There's video that's going around that's saying that this is Tania in the actual tree. Now, I can't confirm or deny whether or not this is her, and because it is sensitive content, I have blurred this image out, but you can vaguely see what I'm talking about. There has been no local. Now, that video where that white spot is on the video, that's the actual woman hanging from the tree. Someone recorded it. She's behind the white blurred out portion of that video. Who news coverage on this on the TV? No local newspaper has reported on this, and I haven't heard anything come over the radio about this either. The only way that her story is getting out is through social media, content creators posting about her story. And for those who are questioning the authenticity of this story, here's an unconfirmed radio dispatch to the local police, sending them to the location where Tania's body was found.
To respond to Parks and Rangers on scene advising a body hanging from a tree at Gwen Cherry Park. PD is currently en route.
And if that's not enough for you, here's the actual report from the coroners in Miami that shows Tania's name as being a body that they had in their possession. And as if this story wasn't already disturbing, it gets diabolical because people are out here pulling up her past and her criminal history as if that has something to do with what we're reporting on now. It's more of the same. And the only difference now is that we have platforms and voices, and what was being done in the dark is now being brought to the light. Don't fall for the distraction. Stay focused on the story. So when I say to you that racism is very much alive and all the Karmelo Anthony trial did was bring it to the forefront, it's not a lie. Because if that wasn't enough for you, check this. Everyone meet Ashton Clark and Landon Harris of Lanier, North Carolina. Let me correct myself. It's not Lanier, it's Lenore, North Carolina. Now, why are these two being featured at the beginning of this video? Well, thanks to the North Carolina beat, we have a video of these two brutally assaulting a young black male, all in the name of revenge for his ex-girlfriend. Warning, the following video contains sensitive content. I'm gonna let that sit for a second so it can marinate. This is the alleged ex-girlfriend.
Put him to sleep. Let him go. Put him to sleep. Put him to sleep. Don't let go. Hit him.
Just so you know, we will be discussing this on YouTube tonight. But if you thought they were done, you're wrong. Because this brutal group of wild hooligan teens decided to continue to beat on this young man even after Ashton had already strangled him and put him to sleep. He continued to be brutalized and beaten on, all in the name of what? Revenge for an ex-girlfriend? No. I think there's something deeper to this, and we're going to discuss it. Ashton was arrested and charged with assault by strangulation and insult to inflict great bodily harm, as well as misdemeanor conspiracy. As for his partners in crime, Landon was arrested and charged with cyberbullying and misdemeanor conspiracy. And reportedly, there is a 17-year-old juvenile whose name is not being released at this time that was also picked up and charged as well in this situation. Currently, Ashton has a $50,000 bond for his release, and Landon has a $2,500 bond for his. And just so you know, they are no longer in custody as we speak. Okay? They're no longer in custody as we speak. You want to tell me that this just all sparked all of the sudden. Now, according to social media, the girl that I circled, she was the ex-girlfriend. And these boys were jumping on him for her. For what reason? We don't know. But that's what's being alleged. And as you saw, she was the one to set that off. She was the one who struck the first blow. So now I ask all of you, is racism dead? Did it ever go anywhere? In my humblest of opinions, it never went anywhere. It just was being hidden. Okay. Well, I didn't mean to show y'all that, but let's go here. Hold on. Let me pull this up. So this is from the Lenoir County Sheriff's. It says, and this is from the sheriff, Sheriff Jackie Rogers. I just got home and have been reading posts on social media. I understand the concerns surrounding this case, and I want to address a few issues and provide some clarification. First, the juvenile victim in this case is an African-American male. Second, the young lady seen punching the victim in the video is not my niece. She is the second cousin on my wife's side of the family and will be charged with assault. She should also be charged with conspiracy. Juveniles' information cannot and will not be released to the public. I have worked in law enforcement for more than 34 years, and I firmly believe that the law applies equally to everyone. Now, why did Sheriff Rogers feel the need to say that Sheriff Rogers feels that justice and the law should be applied equally to everyone? Because that's, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that what we're already supposed to have? Is the laws being applied to us equally and justly? And look at how Sheriff Rogers backpedaled himself right on out of connection to this young lady. She's not a part of my family. She's not my niece. She's on my wife's side of the family, and she's a second cousin, trying to distance himself as far as he can from this young lady. However, Sheriff Rogers, she's still a part of your family. So it's going to be very interesting, and we're going to be watching how you handle this case to see if you really do believe that the law should be applied equally to everyone. Let's continue. I was notified of the incident for the first time this morning at approximately 8:20 a.m. By that time, deputies had already begun investigating the matter and were actively interviewing witnesses. To ensure complete transparency and public confidence, I have requested the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations, SBI, to review the entire investigation to ensure that Lenoir County Sheriff's Office has handled this case properly and thoroughly. The juvenile victim in the matter sustained injuries and received medical treatment. The victim and his father came to the sheriff's office on Monday, June 15th, to report the assault. The Lenoir County Sheriff's Office remains committed to conducting a fair, thorough, and impartial investigation. Everyone involved will be held accountable based on the facts of the evidence. Okay, and that came from Sheriff Jackie Rogers. All right, so Sheriff Jackie Rogers, we're going to be looking to hold you accountable for this case. All right, now let's continue. All right. It says update. As a result of the ongoing investigation, Ashton Clark, 18 of Lenoir County, has been charged with felony assault by strangulation and conspiracy. He was placed on Lenoir County Jail under a $50,000 secured bond. Landon Harris, 19, Pitt County, has been charged with cyberbullying and conspiracy. He was placed in the Lanier County Jail Lenore County Jail under a $2,500 secured bond. And this is Landon over here where y'all comments is at. He's smiling in his mugshot. You think he learned his lesson? No, he seems very pleased with himself, don't he? A 17-year-old juvenile has been charged with felony assault by strangulation and conspiracy. The juvenile was taken into custody and transported to a secure juvenile detention facility. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that I believe the 17-year-old juvenile may have been this wife's second cousin that's been removed way from Sheriff Rogers that was taken into custody. 6 additional juveniles have been identified and will be charged with offenses ranging from assault with a deadly weapon, which if you go back to that video, you saw someone pulled out a weapon, simple assault, and conspiracy. All juveniles will be processed through the juvenile justice system. The incident stemmed from a dispute between juveniles, and at this time, the investigation does not appear to be racially motivated. So you think they would have beat the shit out of another kid the way they beat the shit out of this boy if he was white? Strangling him down on the ground, talking about put him to sleep. The girl is saying, Ashton, let him go. And the other one screaming, put him to sleep. Ashton, let him go. Put him to sleep. The investigation remains active and ongoing. Several additional arrests are expected. We appreciate the assistance from the public and everyone who has provided information during this investigation. Really? So you still believe racism doesn't exist? You can't possibly believe that. You can't possibly really believe that. But let's continue. And let's get back over here to old Big Daddy Metcalf. Okay?
You left him there. I guess he's no more use to you because you can't get any more GoFundMe money or GoSendGo money.
Now, remember, I just told y'all, Mel explained to us in that interview that I did with him why Kayla and the stepdad was not in the courtroom, because they were accidentally removed from the courtroom. And once you were taken out, you couldn't come back in. Now he's spinning narratives about the Give, Send, Go money. When I read to y'all the statement that was given from Give, Send, Go last night, and the statement clearly told everybody that the funds were used for relocation and legal services. And Give, Send, Go has a strict policy of transparency, and that people must use the funds for what they said they were going to use the funds for and be subjected to internal reviews, which means that they have to turn over what they spent this money for, account for every dime spent. So for him to spin this narrative that their son was only money is disgusting and egregious. And any Black person that is sitting up here siding with that type of narrative, it is coonery and tomfoolery. And I'm calling it to the max.
You are grifters. You should be ashamed of yourself. You raised that child. And I swear to God, CPS to come check on those other 3 that you still have. You know?
Grifters. Because they were raising fundraiser money. Well, how about this, Jeff? You had a GoFundMe for your son as well. And your GoFundMe was for $1 million. Did y'all see that? Or did y'all miss that? Did y'all miss it? Oh, don't worry. I won't wait for an answer, because I got it right here. Jeff Metcalf was raising money, and he wanted $1 million. I don't give a damn about people saying he started a foundation in honor of his son, and no. If it was wrong for the family of Karmelo Anthony to be raising money, then why is he raising money? And here's the tee for you. The mother also had a GoFundMe. So both the mother and the father have a GoFundMe. Hold one moment, please, while I pull that up. Hold one moment, please, while I pull that up. Y'all ready? Wait for the sound. Oh, you don't get a sound. Bang. Here's the other one. Here's the other one. This one was for $200,000 and they raised $192,926. Okay. Even if this was set up for the mother, which it may have been, there's a GoFundMe already out there. So explain why this GoFundMe needed to be out there. He raised $621,918 of the $1 million at the time of me taking that photograph. But everybody is focusing on Karmelo Anthony's mother and stepfather. Everybody focusing on them. So what happened to this? Almost? Oh no, you can't even say almost. What happened to the money that you guys raised? What is that, about $800,000 that y'all raised? Let's do the math, shall we? Let's do the math. Let's add it all up. So we're going to take this right here and we're going to add this 192,926. And what does that come to? $814,844. Y'all raised collectively on two different GoFundMes for Austin Metcalf. Are you shitting me? Where'd the money go to? Why isn't anybody screaming and hollering? Where's the receipts for what they did with that money? I don't hear the coons over on them other channels talking about I'm not supposed to say nothing because these were supposed to be for funeral fundings, right? This was supposed to go towards funerals and memorials is what this is placed under. And this was posted on April 2nd. April 2nd, 2025. Well, my. Why does that date look so familiar, you guys? I just can't place it. How does that, why does that date seem so familiar? Does anybody know? No? April 2nd is the day that this incident happened. April 2nd is the day that Karmelo and Austin had the altercation. April 2nd is the date on this GoFundMe. So the same night is when this GoFundMe went up. I know y'all better get that like up. Y'all better get them likes up. I need to see some more comments in the chat. I need participation. Y'all better share this one out. Okay? Now, let's come up off of my Instagram post and let's go here. When did Jeff Metcalf start this? Oh, see, Jeff Metcalf is the organizer. Hold on one second. Let me go over here and let's see who the organizer is, because maybe this was set up for her. I don't see who organized it. Okay, so this was organized for his mom. Someone set up this GoFundMe for her. But let's see when Jeff, who it clearly says is the organizer, when did he set up his GoFundMe? Oh, 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 oh. I don't even want to say it out loud. Somebody say in the chat, in the comments, chat, y'all tell me, what does that date say that's highlighted? Because I don't want to say it out loud. I want y'all to say it. Let me see if y'all see it. Now, see, I'm not going to go around and I'm not going to say that Dad set up both of them because we don't know. We don't know who set up the other one. The same date, the date of the incident. Both of these GoFundMes went up, but nobody's saying nothing about this, right? Because it's unthinkable and unspeakable for us to talk about this, but it's okay for everybody to drag this young man through the mud as if they've never done anything in their lives. But let's get back to old Jeff Metcalf, shall we? While he's sitting up here spewing his venom and spinning narratives that you are hearing being repeated on mainstream legacy media. They are repeating things that are spewing out of his mouth. And you know who gave him this amplification of a voice? Sarah Fields. Okay? That's who he sat down with. This was his first interview after the gag order was lifted. And people were sitting up here giving this man grace. Black people were sitting up here saying, give this man grace because he's grieving. Grief is never an excuse, darling, for racism. It's never an excuse. I can't neither, Lifeboy TV. You came to pray with them to show the unbelievable, to close the unbelievable gap of racial divide. Okay, that's what he said he came to do. Let me say this to everybody, because I know there's a lot of people, even I myself was like at one point, maybe if they would have let him come in there and pray with them, they would have allowed him to be there at the press conference. Maybe things would have went a little differently for Karmelo. But let me explain something to y'all. If that was truly the intentions on his heart, why didn't he reach out to the family? Why wasn't there a conversation that went on prior to the press conference? Why didn't they walk in together? Because see, optically, if Karmelo's family and Austin's family walked in there together, that would have gave a different optic. But he sat up here and he said he's a Christian and that he forgave because forgiveness is for him, which is true. Forgiveness is the most selfish thing that we can do because it unburdens us. But all the venom and vileness that's spewed out of this man's mouth leads me to believe that this was already his mindset. It has nothing to do with grief. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. It has to already be in your heart for you to speak it. For him to make it seem like he made up watermelon felon off the top of his head just to help Sarah and them go viral, that's bullshit. That's something him and his buddies have sat back and pounded beers to and said out loud. Because it took you no time. Just like that, you had a nickname for him. And you sat up here and you disrespected that boy's mother. Now, if we were to sit up here and start disrespecting Austin's mother, we'd be dead ass wrong. But you don't think that both mothers deserve respect in this situation? You want everybody to respect Jeff Metcalf and have no regard for Karmelo Anthony's family. That is racist, bigot, one-sided mentality. And I'm not going to be a part of it. You went somewhere and you were asked to leave and you left without stabbing anyone. That was supposed to be a dig. That was supposed to be a dig. Guess what? You didn't have somebody who was 7 inches taller than you and anywhere from 70 to 100 pounds. I don't remember exactly how much it is. You didn't have anybody who was towering over you and who was bigger than you, linemen drilling you out the door either. I don't recall anyone putting their hands on you either. Okay? Let me just explain this to y'all right now. Anytime someone has a type of mentality, I don't care if you're black, white, purple with green dots, yellow with orange stripes. I don't care what color or ethnicity you are. When people say that they are a Christian and they spew venom and they spew hate out of their mouths, they're liars. Christians do not behave in this manner because Christians take everything to God. And how do I know? Because my mama is a bona fide colored lady and she take everything to God. She fasts, she prays, she goes into spiritual warfare. And I'm talking about my mama because my mama is my covering. And how is my mama my only covering? My daddy is deceased. And so are both of my grandfathers. And so are both of my grandmothers. So my mama is all I got. And she's the covering over this family. And she is a bona fide colored lady. She's a Christian through and through. Her prayers, they cover and protect because those prayers kept me safe a lot of times when I should have been out of here. And she don't behave this way. She wouldn't behave this way. And I hate that people hide behind Christianity. Do you teach your kids to hate? Did you inbred yours to do that? Answer your own questions. Okay, so this is where I'm getting this from. Conservative twins, they were taught to hold an animosity. I was not taught to hold an animosity. But a lot of us were taught the ways of this world. A lot of us were taught that we had to be smarter, that when we went out in public, we had to behave and present a certain way. I know growing up, I was taught the importance of proper English, and I can speak proper English when I want to. I was taught we behave one way in our environment and we behave another way outside of our environment. From a young age, many of us were taught that. And to some degree, our elders passed down their fears, but we didn't take them and digest them. But this country has never been equal or just. I just want to say that.
Race. Please don't make it about race and don't politicize it. And what did you do? You chose both. The race card, black fatigue, it's real. I'm sorry. You have embarrassed your own culture and race. Don't get me wrong. We got a lot of people that embarrass me too. But you.
I'm not embarrassed. I am not embarrassed by Karmelo. I'm not embarrassed by Kayla, and I'm not embarrassed by the stepdad. Are you embarrassed? Let me know down in the comments, chat. Are y'all embarrassed?
Guys, you got a patent on that. And the only people that's going to change it are you. Don't blame the white person because we can't change it. But you're going to blame the white person for every fucking thing else. I'm going to tell you, y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such a little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you? His first night in that cell last night. Because he's going to have many nights to think about what the fuck he did.
Now, let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all what is so disturbing about what he just said. About how Karmelo, he hopes he enjoyed his first night in that cell because he's going to have many more nights like that. In the interview with Karmelo's family, they said they were receiving threats of Karmelo being threatened with sexual assault. I can't find the other one that I have, but let me show you. This is one of the pictures that's floating around Facebook. There's another one with a huge white man behind Karmelo with his arms around him. So when Jeff Metcalf says, I hope he enjoyed his first night, because he's going to have many more nights like that. After seeing these types of images floating around freely on the internet, it disturbs my spirit. And the way that he's smiling and grinning about it, it disturbs my spirit.
I forgave him, so I don't carry the hate and the anger. How poetic justice is served. You just threw up a big softball and knocked it out of the park. Thank you for making it so easy for me. So you can live with your lie if you want to, but my truth, is forever.
All right. So they obviously did not use any of the clips of him talking about the 8 baby mamas with EBT in Walmart. You don't know your father, and you got 8 baby mamas. If that pissed you off, this is the coonery that I'm talking about. Now, I would use his whole thing, but I don't want to. Now, as y'all know, Jeff Metcalf recently, matter of fact, no, let's do it, because we're going to talk about Jeff Metcalf's little talk on The View. Coming at Sunny from The View. And this content creator, which y'all see down here in the corner, down here. Let me move y'all comments so y'all can see him very clearly. This content creator right here is the subject of conversation and one of the many that are engaging in coonery. Let's check it out, shall we? And yes, I will be pausing to give commentary because this content is being used underneath the guides of the Fair Use Act. It will be used for commentary, criticisms, and possible teachable moments. So YouTube and anyone else who gets butthurt, do not come copyright striking my channel.
Jurors. They were all the 3 black jurors that were there were educators.
Did you guys hear me? Were y'all able to hear me when I was talking just then? Or did I have the mute button on? Because I don't know, because I'm learning how to work this mute button. Okay, good.
Least they were struck for that, and some folks think no, he got a fair trial. But is this a jury of his peers?
I don't think so. And you know, this has been
Sunny Huston didn't have a problem when Trump had an unfair jury. As a matter of fact, she just goes around calling him a convicted felon all the time, even though her husband is likely to get put in jail for crimes that he's committed. But let's keep.
What does Sunny's husband have to do with any of this? Please explain to me, because that had nothing to do with the topic. So as you can tell, he's already a Trumper thumper. He's a magatard. He's a magatard. And Trump, he didn't have a jury of his peers, and she didn't have a problem with that. Well, explain to me how he didn't have a jury of his peers. But let me digress, because we got a lot to cover.
Keep going.
Because you're supposed to have a jury of your peers, and you're not supposed to just strike someone because they're black. And in this case, they gave the reasoning that they're educators, and this happened. These were high school students, and this happened at a school track meet, so they couldn't be impartial because of that.
First of all, let me just say that is the most bullshit, bogus ass excuse that I have ever heard in my life, that because they were high school teachers, that they may not be able to be impartial. They're teachers. Their job is to be impartial. They deal with students on a regular basis. They understand how the environment is when it comes down to high school students. But Sunny's going to continue to explain why they may not want the teachers on the jury.
I don't think that's an appropriate reason.
They might be the best ones too.
Yeah, I don't think it's an appropriate reason to strike black jurors, especially when.
You guys let me know what you think. Do you think that if you have black jurors, 3, and a black male on defense who was underage when this happened, still young, 19 years old, you think, and they're educators, right? All teachers or educators in some form. You really think that these 3 black educators, I believe they said they were all female, 3 black women, was going to convict Anthony no matter what he did? I don't think so. And I think that's what Sunny Huston wanted. Inevitably, she wanted Metcalf to be killed and for Anthony to get away with it.
This guy is saying that because Sonny is saying that Karmelo should have had a jury of his peers and that was not a reasonable excuse for them to strike the 3 black jurors, that she wanted Austin to be killed and for Karmelo. He's making this seem like Karmelo ran down on Austin in a dark alley and assaulted him. When people talk like this and they don't give the whole facts, it pisses me off. Because all of this started from a back and forth argument, someone saying leave. There's no way you told that boy to leave 15 times that quick. And even if he refused to leave, Austin never went and got a coach to come tell him to leave the tent. He took matters into his own hands and he lineman drilled Karmelo Anthony. He put his hands on me and I told him not to. All of this that was given on the stand, I can't wait till these transcripts come out. I cannot wait for these transcripts to come out so we could see everything that was said in that courtroom, even though we have heard it from reliable and credible sources. For people like this, they need to see it in black and white. A lot of those witnesses perjured themselves. And not to mention, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Let me show y'all something. Before we continue with him, let me show y'all something. Y'all forget that the kids that testified in court were friends of Austin and Hunter Metcalf. Okay? Shout out to the opinion court, the public opinion court. She is somebody that I have just come to see, and I love her content. She pointed this out right here. May 23rd, 2025. Cooking out some burgers with Hunter and the boys. Have to paint the fire pit Hunter welded. Got 7 numbers, 11 and 12, for part of the trial witness list for Hunter. Got 7 numbers, 11 and 12, for part of the trial witness list for Hunter. Got 7 numbers, 11 and 12, for part of the trial witness list for Hunter. So proud of the job he did on this. So glad he has such great friends to support him through this difficult time. It is, to my understanding, according to the public opinion court, these kids testified. This one in the cowboy hat is Hunter, but these boys testified in court, according to her. Sorry, y'all. You still want to keep going off of? The kids got in there and they testified and they said that Karmelo egged him on. He provoked him. Do you know that one of the disqualifying factors for self-defense is provoking someone? Because you cannot provoke somebody and then cause great bodily harm to them after you've provoked them. You don't think that Gregory, the sex offender Gregory, prepped these witnesses and let them know to say that Karmelo provoked Austin? Y'all don't find this uncomfortable and uneasy? That if this is correct, which I believe she is telling the truth. The incident happened on April 2nd. May 23rd, they're sitting in the Metcalf backyard, painting a fire pit and having some burgers off the grill with Papa Metcalf. Man, y'all better stop playing with me. Y'all better stop playing with me. Because, see, I see a lot and I don't say a lot. But that right there, and for this man to be sitting over here, spewing out the coonery that he's spitting out, because I can't even get the words out right now. It enrages me.
That's the inevitable reason why these people are upset. It's not because Anthony didn't have a fair trial. They're upset because he did have a fair trial and they wanted an unfair trial.
And it's a...
You know, let me just say this before we continue on. He must forget that all it's going to take is for one slip up for him. And he going to be sitting in Karmelo's seat. And he going to see just how it feels to be slapped with injustice. Now, I'm not wishing it on him. But he thinks he's above it. He thinks that if he behaves proper and he do what he supposed to say, that if he ever gets in a jam, he's going to be saved and safe.
Young black teenager on trial, and especially when that particular area is made up of 10% of an African-American community. So I don't think he got a jury of his peers. So I think on appeal, there is a legitimate thing, a legitimate reason. I also think we have to look at self-defense here, because there seems to be two systems of justice at play in this country. And there have been for a very long time. I was part of the system, so I understand that, and I believe that to be true. In this case, this young man, you heard him say, he put his hands on me, and I told him not to.
So as she's talking about self-defense, he's in the corner rolling his eyes, very sassy. Very, very sassy pants he is. Again, this video and its content are being used, are operating and are used underneath the guise of the Fair Use Act. It is being used for commentary, criticism, and possible teachable moments. So, hey, YouTube and anybody who gets butthurt, do not come copyright striking my channel. Now, with that being said, what she just brought up is an actual fact, and this is the thing that we have been out here arguing about on these internet streets. I know there are a lot of people that are talking about self-defense is different when it comes down to your skin tone, and I really don't care how anybody else feels about what I'm saying, because I know the trolls are in the bushes watching, because there are that many people watching and there are no comments moving at this particular point in time. When it comes down to self-defense, had the shoe been on the other foot and it had been Karmelo who got stabbed by Austin, it would have automatically been self-defense. It would have automatically been self-defense, because like those conservative twins said, they were taught and conditioned to think a certain way about white people. Society as a whole is taught to think a certain way about black people. Going all the way back to my childhood in the 80s, I remember on the TV screen, black men being paraded, being perp walked for the evening news in handcuffs and being criminalized. We are portrayed as aggressors, as brutes, as savages, as animals. That's the subliminal messages that gets displayed to the world, which is the reason why little white ladies clutch their purse when they see us walking by. And it doesn't matter how we're dressed. It doesn't matter how we look. We can smile and say good day, and they're still going to grab and clutch their purse. If you walk past their door, they're going to lock it because they have been programmed and conditionalized to believe that we are savages. Now, on the flip side of that coin, I am going to say that there are some people in the Black community who actually feed into those narratives, but that is not all Black people. But guess what? They don't give a damn about it not being all Black people. They don't care if you're a Black woman, if you're a Black man, if you're a Black child, if you're a Black toddler. They don't give a damn about any of that. They're going to react the same way. When it comes down to somebody Black being accused of a crime, they are guilty before they are ever innocent, and they have to fight to be proven innocent in the court of public opinion, in the courthouse itself, in their community. They have to fight to prove that they are innocent. They are not innocent until proven guilty. But let a white man do the same crime, and that white man is given the benefit of the doubt. That is a fact. That is not fiction. That is something that we have watched over and over and over again. And we have watched the system stack the deck against us so many times, especially in the Jim Crow South. See, what you have to remember is all of that racism was not too far behind us. That racism happened to our grandparents. If you are in your 30s and in your 40s and in your 50s, your grandparents experienced racism on a high level. So if your grandparents experienced it, what do you think that means for the opposite side? If they experienced the racism, then on the other side, they were the ones that were giving the racism. Which means that those racist Jim Crow times are only 2 generations behind us. 2 generations behind us. And what I mean by 2 is it's us, it's your mama and your daddy, and then it's your grandma and your grandpa. That's 2 generations behind you. There are people that are still alive this day, right now in 2026, who experience segregation. There are people that are alive in 2026. There's a 90-something-year-old man, I think he's 94, 95 years old, who was on his local news. I saw it. I wonder if I reposted it. Let me see. He was born on a damn plantation. He worked the fields of the plantation. And this man, he wanted his birth certificate. Because he was born on a plantation, he never had a birth certificate. All he wanted was a birth certificate before he passes away. That's all he wanted. But do you hear what I just said? That there is a man alive right now in 2026 that was born on a plantation and worked the field. Slavery is only 4 to 5 generations behind us. And I don't even believe that slavery is all the way gone. I didn't reshare it, unfortunately. I shared it to my story, but I didn't repost it. And that was a while ago. Slavery is still happening to this day. How many of you, by show of Henny glasses, remember the video of the man who pulled over on the side of the road and he saw people picking string beans in the field? And the lady walked up to him and he put the string beans in the bag for him. And she was scared to talk. If you think that somewhere in this country, in a small town, that slavery is not still happening, you're sadly mistaken. But then again, there's a lot of people that don't believe that lynchings are still happening in 2026 neither. Let's continue.
This the kid that died, and I have so much empathy for.
Look, I want to go ahead and say this because a lot of people don't know this. The reason why, because if anybody wonders why Austin pushed Karmelo Anthony, it's because number one, he dared him to do it, and number two, he kept calling him and his friends a bunch of pussies and saying that they weren't gonna do anything. You ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing. Y'all bunch of pussies. So he basically was egging on the situation. Then
here is bringing all this. What proof do you have of that? Are you talking about the testimony from them kids who were sitting in the backyard eating barbecue with Jeff Metcalf? We supposed to believe them, right?
Austin pushed him and then he stabbed him. So it's not like Karmelo was just there like, hey man, it's raining. Can you relax? And like just wait for the rain to die down or something. You know, it was nothing like that. They're acting like this was just some innocent child, like this sweet little angel.
And you're acting like this was just some sweet little child, some innocent angel, when people got on the stand and also testified that he was a bully. People testified that he was a bully. That the Metcalf twins were bullies. Let that sink in. But see, we don't know what to believe because there's no audio to that tape. We can't hear what was going on that tape. And with all of those kids underneath that tent and all of the ruckus that was being caused, I do not believe that in this day and age, in this modern technology, that no child whipped out their phone and recorded the incident. I do not believe that Eddie Parra does not have a copy of the video. I do not believe that Yellow Poncho Girl does not have a copy of the video. I do not believe that any of those kids that fell like bowling pins down the damn bleachers did not have a video. I don't believe that. Somebody has the video, but they're scared to put the video out. Because they live in Collin County, Texas. And if they put that video out and it comes out that they leaked it, they're going to be in some serious trouble. And who knows, they might be the next strange fruit hanging from a tree. Let's continue.
That's not who this guy was at all.
For him and his family.
Hold on. For him to say this is not who that guy was at all. Well, he sure didn't have a criminal record prior to April 2nd, 2025. He sure did not. The only thing that he may have had was maybe some disciplinary things in school, just like the Metcalf boys may have had some disciplinary things in school. But we don't know because neither one of them took the stand. Isn't that interesting?
Laws. That kid was 200 pounds. This kid was 130 pounds. And
false. This guy is, they keep saying he's like 5'6" and like 130 pounds, whereas he's really more like around at least 150 pounds and he's 5'11". So he's thin and didn't weigh that much, but he's actually pretty tall. So
he's thin and didn't weigh that much, but he's actually pretty tall. He's actually pretty tall. That's pretty tall? Interesting. Don't you find that interesting? It's very interesting. I think people who think like this, I think they need to be studied. I really do. I think they need to be studied. And hold on one second, because we could easily find out how much Karmelo Anthony weighed. We could easily find that out. Hold on one second. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Let's see. How much did he say Carmelo Anthony weighed? Let's go back a little bit and let's see what he said.
Thin and didn't weigh that much, but 50 pounds and he's 30 pounds, whereas he's really
Kid was 130 pounds. And
false. This guy is they keep saying he's like 5'6" and like 130 pounds, whereas he's really more like around at least 150 pounds and he's 5'11". So
really interesting. He said 150 pounds. False accusations. Okay. Carmelo was 5'9" and weighed 130 pounds. So Sonny was correct that Carmelo weighed 130 pounds. It's right there. Where did I get this from? The police report. Remember we went over this? It tells you right there. 5'9", 130 pounds. So I'm sorry, Mr. Coonery, you're wrong.
So he's thin, it didn't weigh that much, but he's actually pretty tall.
So and the other kid was also taller than he is. He was the only black kid under the tent, and the victim here had his twin brother with him, who was also a very large person. If you don't fear for your
And let's also correct Austin as well. Austin Metcalf was about 213 pounds, and he was around 6'1". So they may have been, if people want to say that they were close in height, they were not close in weight. In fact, Austin weighed about 83 pounds more than Carmelo Anthony, which is damn near 100 pounds. So when we're going to get up here and we're going to start talking, we're going to start giving facts, we need to make sure that we have all the facts and that they're laid out properly, because you don't want somebody like me coming behind you.
Life, if you weigh 130 pounds, I weigh 130 pounds. Facing somebody that's 200 pounds, I would be terrified of that. So I don't understand why self-defense was rejected by this.
Guys, being afraid because the big bad white people are kind of tall is not a good self-defense argument. Sonny Huston, this is why she's a former attorney. She has no active licenses, guys. So,
people like him, I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of them. You know why I'm afraid of them? Because they're the people that will turn you in and throw you under the bus. Not because they want to save their own hide, but because they want to be given approval. They seek approval. And a person who is seeking approval will do anything. So let's read the facts on Sonny, shall we? Let's pull up the Google facts on Sonny. He said, this is why she's disbarred, why she's not practicing law. Let's quote him correctly. Let's see what he said. She has no active licenses, guys. So Sonny Hostin, shifted away from actively practicing law to pursue a successful career in television and journalism. While pregnant in 2021, she went on extended bed rest, which prompted her and her husband to move closer to family in New York. When she later tried returning to work, a court TV producer saw her give a presentation on work-life balance and suggested she try TV. This led to a transition into legal reporting and commentary for networks like Court TV, Fox News, CNN, and eventually ABC, where she became a co-host on The View. Holston is an accomplished lawyer before making a jump to media. She worked as a federal prosecutor in the U.S. Department of Justice Antitrust Division and later a trial attorney in the child sex abuse and exploitation sector. So once again, sir, you're lying. Nowhere does it say that she was disbarred. What it says is, when she later tried to return to work, a Court TV producer saw her give a presentation on work-life balance and suggested she try TV. And prior to going to The View, she gave legal reporting and commentary for Court TV, Fox News, CNN, and ABC News. And from ABC, she became a co-host on ABC's The View. Cool. This has nothing to do with her not being licensed to practice. Dumb, racist hustlers and morons. Why did he just describe himself? Let's continue. And I get that Whoopi has to try to be politically correct. Did y'all hear that? Oh my God, I forgot to shift y'all back over. Did y'all hear that? Oh, y'all didn't hear that. Okay, so let's run it back. Let's run it back. My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all.
Push them back. That's
That white former.
push them back. Push them back. That's so if someone pushes you and you push them back, that's self-defense.
That's not the standard because it's not only use but attempted use.
Well, no, that's what I'm asking.
So if you felt your life was in danger and you felt he was going to do more than just push you, and you weigh 130 pounds and you're outweighed by 70 pounds,
so you can
use.
When I looked at this case though, which to me is just sad.
Clearly, the jury didn't think so. I don't think anybody thinks so, besides dumb leftist race hustlers and morons. If you ask me.
So that's what I was giving the commentary on when I said he just described himself.
I understand is, it is normal for runners to, go under
tents.
tents.
My kids were runners. You always do that.
And so there was some conversation that he was told to leave, and he was saying,
well, he had been invited under the tent by a friend.
Yes.
He had been invited. One last thing, I know we're playing the music, but Metcalf also.
And that is something that was testified in court. But not only that, if we go back to this police report, okay, let's share this tab. If we go back to this police report, oh, this isn't the one that I have highlighted. Damn it. Okay, let me see right here. If we go right here in this police report, and it says, when I arrived, the crime scene had already been marked off. Suspect was in custody. I began asking people if they were witnesses to anything. I made contact with Hunter Metcalf and then EP, who is Eddie Parra, right? So now it says down here, when we go down under the tent, I asked him what happened, and he stated they were they sat on the bleachers under the tent for the Memorial High School when another male he didn't know walked over and sat under the tent. Eddie then said Austin, the victim, told the male that since he didn't go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. But he says, a male. How do we know that he's talking to Eddie? Because he says, I attempted to ask them both what happened. This officer, Officer Fisher, attempted to ask Hunter and Eddie, EP, I attempted to ask them both what happened. I could not really get anything out of Hunter, but Eddie stated he wanted to speak. Eddie said he did not know Karmelo. But when we get up here, Anthony went to Centennial and he was sitting under the memorial tent. Okay. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. Blank advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another memorial track member, EP, was friends with Anthony and he could identify Anthony. EP was friends with Anthony. This was a statement that was given to Officer Witzel. But when we get down here to Officer Fisher, and he says that he spoke to Hunter, he contacted Hunter Metcalf and then EP, which we know to be Eddie Parra, and that he couldn't really get anything out of Hunter, but blank, which would be Eddie, stated what happened and said that he did not know who Karmelo was. Okay? So he wasn't his friend. But he was invited underneath that tent, and Eddie did know him.
Metcalf's the victim, the deceased. His father went on a podcast and listened to it for yourself, but he called Karmelo Anthony a racial slur. And he also said that the reason that Black people weren't on the jury is because Black people are unable to hold bias from the trial because they don't know their own fathers, have a bunch of baby mamas running around living off of government assistance. So that is the thing. That's the thinking of the victim's father.
Exactly. That's the thinking of the victim's father. And now Whoopi is going to be politically correct.
Well, let's not say that was the victim's
I'm not saying it was the
thinking as
thinking
well.
Of the victim,
Good.
but of the victim's father.
And we'll let you sit with that.
If the thinking of your parents isn't what helps to shape and mold you, then whose thinking does? So I get it. They don't want to get sued. They don't want to have any issues. But you can't say that a parent's thinking doesn't influence a child's thinking. Either the child goes along and carries on that parent's mindset or they develop a different mindset. Now, this dude is getting ready to utterly piss you off. Listen to what he says.
I mean, guys, did he lie though? I mean, I'm in the black community. I'm not going to ignore facts. If the majority of the black community, is it a majority single mothers? Yes. Are a lot of people on food stamps and other forms of government entitlement programs? Yes. I mean, did he lie? I mean, of course, he didn't lie. Do a lot of people know who their father even is? No, a lot of people don't know who their father is. So
and that right there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is why this type of a person is dangerous. That's why. But hold on. Let's go ahead and let's deal in facts. Let's deal in facts. Okay? Because we like to deal in facts. So they like to, because StreamYard is saying that it's having a problem with sharing my screen. So let's clear it and let's get back to it. Let's see what good old Google has to say. So, wait a minute. Are you guys seeing my screen? Wait a minute. Let me take it down. Let me remove this. And let me do this and do this again. According to Google, numerically, white Americans are the largest racial group receiving welfare benefits in the United States, generally making up the largest percentage of recipients across major programs. Let me repeat that. Numerically, white Americans are the largest racial group receiving welfare benefits in the United States. Because the U.S. population is predominantly white, the raw number of white recipients is higher than any other group. However, racial and ethnic minorities, such as Black and Hispanic individuals, are statistically overrepresented on welfare relative to their share of the U.S. population. Statistically, 35 to 45%, which is almost half of the people on welfare are white. Black people are 25 to 27%. But they are statistically overrepresented on welfare relative to their share of the total U.S. population. They're overrepresented. Here's another fun fact for you guys as well. Hold on. Let me get this up for you guys. Because here's a little fun fact that people like our little friend over there, don't know either. Welfare was not originally created for Black people. Yes, the original U.S. welfare system established in the early 20th century as mothers' pensions and expanded by the 1935 Social Security Act as aid to dependent children was designed primarily for white widows. In 1935, President Franklin D. Roosevelt proposed to Congress economic security legislation embodying the recommendations of a specially created Committee of Economic Security that followed the passage of the Social Security Act, signed into law on August 14th, 1935, right? In the early 20th century, it was created for white widows. And expanded in 1935 by the Social Security Act, right? That happened underneath President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1935. Black single mothers did not start receiving welfare until the 1950s and 60s. And it was Black single mothers founded the welfare rights movement and ignited a push for true economic justice. So they started pushing to be allowed to be a part of that system. But originally, this is why when people say the government is saying that you can't have a man, you got to put the man out your household in order for you to be able to get welfare, and they become the baby daddy and woo. Because in the beginning, it wasn't created for us, number one. And number two, it was created for widows. Widows meaning that there was no man in the household. So when people start spewing the rhetoric of, oh, they created welfare for Black mothers to get on welfare and get rid of the father so they could create single parent households and woo, that's not necessarily true. Now, did they allow Black mothers to come on there so that they couldn't have a man in the household? Maybe. But it was originally created for white women without a man. Their husbands had died. They had no head of household, no one to provide for them and the children because the husband was deceased. So the rules of the program always were for a single mother. And then it specifically says here that in the 1950s and 60s, that Black single mothers, meaning there was no man in the household. Now, we don't know if they were widowed. We don't know what. But in the 1950s and 60s, Black single mothers founded the welfare rights movement and ignited a push for true economic justice, meaning they pushed into welfare. And I'm going to tell you now that in the new day and age, there are husbands and wives that are on welfare. There are husbands and wives that are on Section 8. There are whole families that are on Section 8 and welfare. But let's go back to what I said just a minute ago. We are not the ones who are majority receiving welfare. Ooh, I'd have made some people mad. Uniquely, if you're sniping, please stop. Okay. I don't know who this is, but hello, Donald. Now the 71-year-old Grant. He says, this is why being afraid of white people makes you act this way. It has survived the test of time. Somehow he fools himself more than anybody else. This buffoonery doesn't bother. You want to know why it bothers me, though? It bothers me because he believes what he's saying. She said, I'm not, LOL, stop calling me. No, I'm going to keep calling your name. So once again, he sides with Jeff Metcalf, and he's excusing all of the racist, bigoted things that came out of his mouth in that interview with Sarah Fields. He sides with it, and he's okay with it because he says, I'm part of the Black community. So what he's saying is, hey, white people, you can say whatever you want to say. I'm part of the Black community, and I'm giving you a pass to say it because, hey, I feel that way too. We don't know our fathers. We all are on welfare. But he's not the only one. He's not the only one. There's this one, too, that popped up down my timeline. Let's listen to just a few minutes of what he had to say.
100% a murderer, and there's no longer any question in anybody's mind. You know, all those Karmelo Anthony supporters who are out here, I still think she needs more time, is showing the actual stabbing take place. I get it now. Now I understand why Karmelo Anthony got 35 years in prison. Now, I've famously said that I believe that he should have gotten at least 15 years, maybe a manslaughter charge for 15. I thought 35 was a little harsh, right? I was comparing it to like Mackenzie Shirilla, and I still think she needs more time as well. I thought 35 years was a little bit harsh for the...
Remember, he's speaking in past tense. He thought that 35 years was a little harsh, which means that he's changed his mind.
Comparison, but now we have actual footage showing the actual stabbing take place, right? And now I understand why he got those 35 years, and he deserves life. Karmelo Anthony, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you want to believe, no matter, you know, what blog you want to follow, Karmelo Anthony is a horrible person, and he's a murderer. He is 100% a murderer, and there's no longer any question in anybody's mind.
I have a question. How do you come to that conclusion watching that video when there are clearly, well, not there are clearly, it's clearly not a clear copy for you to be able to see exactly what happened? So how do you come to a clear-cut decision that he deserves 35 years? How do you change your mind?
You know, all those Karmelo Anthony supporters who are out here telling us that footage shows Karmelo Anthony being jumped by 3-4 kids, and all those supporters who said, you know, Karmelo Anthony's innocent, self-defense is not a crime.
I showed y'all the breakdown of what I saw in the video. And what I saw. And if many of you saw it, then you saw it too. But I just shared with the world, like everybody else, what I saw in the video. Now, as far as if the video was edited, this frame is missing, I've watched all of that footage. Well, not all of it, but I've watched a couple of people give a breakdown on how the footage was photoshopped. Things photoshopped in, things photoshopped out, from the top of the tent that was photoshopped in to people being photoshopped out, to people just completely going missing from frames and everything. I've seen all of that. And what I will tell you is it a possibility? It's a possibility, but I don't know. All I know is what I saw in that video. I want to see a clear, unedited, unaltered copy of that video with no enhancements on it at all. I want to see an up close and personal video of the situation that happened. because I am tired of everyone saying that it was a push as if he gently pushed him. And that's what Megyn Kelly said, that it was a gentle push. He gently pushed him, didn't even knock over the other person. It was a lineman's drill. And there's different lineman drills, but they all involve force.
They are really quiet now. It has been a very interesting 24 hours, folks.
The Karmelo Anthony supporters are still here. We're still speaking. And you, sir, were clearly one at one point in time, or at least you felt like he was being, he was given too much time as well. But you watched this video, and I guess maybe you didn't get the views that you wanted to get, the likes you wanted to get, the comments that you wanted to get. You didn't get the approval either, so you jumped ship.
Folks, and I was not working yesterday, so I was not able to do this video. But we're here now. It has been an interesting 24 hours, folks. We have body cam footage of police officers approaching Karmelo Anthony. We have footage from the school showing the actual stabbing take place. And we also even...
I'm sorry, where in that video did we see the actual stabbing take place? Did we see him actually get stabbed? Because I didn't see it.
Even have 911 calls from other students for a little sprinkle on top. Every single instance that I'm about to show you, ladies and gentlemen, is Karmelo Anthony's doing. There are 3 things that I want to point out in this video I'm about to show you. The raw footage, no sound, no nothing, just straight imagery. 3 things I want to point out, and you're going to feel the same way I feel by the time we finish this video. But anyways, I mean, good riddance, in my opinion, because if this was your son, say it was your black son, white son, Mexican son, and he got stabbed by this little piece of shit, you would want him off the streets regardless of his...
He got stabbed by this little piece of shit. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I wouldn't have corrupted a jury. I would not have tampered with witnesses. I would have wanted the truth about what happened. No matter how ugly it may have been, no matter what my child may have looked like, I would have wanted the truth. Because the reality of the situation is a lot of people that are speaking out either don't have children or don't remember what it was like to be a child. And one thing that I know and I remember is when I was a child, I was one person in the house and another person outside. And I never intertwined the two. My parents, when I got older and I was telling them some of the things that I was doing out in the streets, they were shocked because they never thought that I was out in the streets like that. I wasn't hoeing, I wasn't selling punana or any of that stuff. But let's just say the prayers of my mother and my grandmothers, and probably my grandfathers too, and the prayers of my father, all kept me covered. Because I could have ended up in jail or dead. But I'm here talking to you guys. And I've never lost touch with the fact that my children have a different personality in front of their friends than they have in the house. See, people who have kids and they think like this, they don't remember. Those are my child would never parents. And then you find out that your child would. And you're devastated. I know I raised well-rounded, level-headed, critical thinking children. But I also know that there's somebody else when they step outside the door. Everybody is. We're one way inside of the house, and we're another way at work, and we're another way with our friends, and we're another way with our family. We're all the same person, but we're all different. So if this were to have happened to one of my children, I would want justice to be served. I would want the truth of what happened. I wouldn't want falsified information. I wouldn't want anything doctored up. I wouldn't want witnesses lying on the stand. And I wouldn't want to stack a jury or a courtroom. You know why? Because I'm not mean-spirited. And that's just my opinion on it.
Fucking race. We don't need kids like this in our world stabbing people because they told them to move. Let's do this, man. I'm yapping. Let's get it.
So we're not going to get into what he has to say because I really have no interest in anything else that he has to say because he said enough. How could you, as Black men, sit up here and be such traitors? And I don't care how anybody feels about me saying that. It's the truth. All right. I don't really want to get too much into Megyn Kelly, but we're going to listen to a little bit of Megyn Kelly. And y'all are going to see that these guys are no different.
Very proud of that.
Look, this guy's no nonsense. And that's going to come back to help this verdict and the prosecution, which will be fighting to sustain it on appeal.
So first of all, let's just start here. Megyn Kelly, she seems a little upset about Karmelo Anthony's team. Now, y'all can go and watch this whole thing if y'all want to. I just want to get to a point. I want to make a point, and I want to land my plane for the night. So that's why I'm not starting from the beginning. But let's listen to what she says, because she's giving kudos to the judge and saying the jury got it right and all of that, and saying that it's because of him and the prosecution. They're going to fight this and they're going to win.
This is not some moron who got placed on the bench for politics. You can tell this guy's a serious jurist, and he knew.
If he was such a serious jurist, as she calls him, then he wouldn't have allowed that strike to go against those 3 jurors. If he was serious, then the moment that Eddie Parra got caught perjuring himself on the stand, Eddie Parra would have faced charges of perjury. And anyone else that got caught on that stand, and everyone else that got caught on that stand, they all would have been charged with perjury the minute that it was discovered that they perjured themselves. If he was serious, then the minute that evidence came to light, which should have come to light, that the Metcalf father was hosting a barbecue with children who allegedly witnessed on the stand in his courtroom, they would have been disqualified as witnesses, and the witness tampering, alleged witness tampering, would have been called out.
Knew what he was doing. And this is not the first time, I'm sure, he's had a defendant raise complaints like this.
And this is not the first time, I'm sure, that there has been a trial where the jury was stacked and so was the courtroom against the defendant, and that the defendant was a defendant of color. I'm quite sure this is not the first time. that this has ever happened. Okay? I'm sure. Because that judge was ready for his courtroom to get back to a regular courtroom without all the eyes and cameras on his courtroom.
But Sunny Hostin's complaints didn't just stop with a jury. Actually, she says she's still not convinced. The misleading went on for 5 minutes. Okay, I won't subject you to the whole segment because each moron there of The View weighed in. I mean, truly, one is dumber than the next.
Just like Megyn Kelly. She falls right in line with everybody who signs up for this rhetoric and doesn't see this as injustice. When we already went through Kason Allison, who was a white boy in Belton, went to Belton High School, who stabbed Joe Ramirez 4 times, who intentionally took a knife, went in the bathroom of the high school to fight Joe, and stabbed Joe 4 times, killing him. Now, what we do know about Joe and Kason is that they had a turbulent past with one another, and that Joe had flashed a gun at Kason at one point in time. So they had a very hostile past with one another, which means that there was premeditation involved. Premeditation involved in Kason's case. But you know what? Kason's lawyers did their job. They got experts on the stand. They got Kason some medical evaluation. Yeah, Kason had someone come on the stand and testify for him. And you know what Kason got sentenced to? 10 years. You know what he got charged with? Recklessly negligent homicide. Even though there was intent and premeditation there, he was not charged with first-degree murder. Karmelo Anthony, on the other hand, a black student, at a track meet, under a tent, gets into an argument, going back and forth, telling them that they were ass, arguing about football or the track team. Was threatened, according to the reports that we got from the courtroom insiders. Austin threatened him, called him a bitch ass. I'll move your bitch ass. The two argue. It's Austin, it's Hunter, and that whole team. And what nobody is factoring in is I can guarantee you that Eddie already had started turning on Karmelo when the argument started. When all of this get out of the tent business started, I can guarantee you Eddie had already turned on Karmelo. They were already surrounding Karmelo because according to testimony and according to the videographers and according to all of these people that testified, Karmelo was seated. He never stood. So they were towering over him. And if he's surrounded, where is he going? I would fear for my life as well. I wouldn't get up to leave neither. You should have went and got a coach. Somebody should have left and got the coach. When the arguing and the bickering was going back and forth, why didn't anybody go get a coach? So if you're outnumbered and you've got somebody aggressively coming at you and they decide to put their hands on you and you defend yourself, because I am sure the way that they are talking about this is as if Karmelo intended to stab Austin in the heart and kill him. I do not believe that Karmelo intended to stab him and kill him. I don't. And what makes me say I don't believe that he intended to stab him is the fact that Karmelo asked, and it's on the body cam, is he going to be okay? I also don't believe that Karmelo stabbed Austin with all of that force. I believe Austin also fell on that knife or pushed himself into that knife when he did that lineman's drill on him. And see, these are the details that they're not talking about. These are the small details that they are skipping over. And this is why I cannot wait for the transcripts to be released.
Sunny Hostin's not dumb. This is willful misinformation on her part, meant to push a racial agenda that.
And this is willful misinformation on your part as well, because I don't know what your agenda is, Megyn Kelly. I don't want to make an accusation against you, but I kind of think I know what your agenda is. But you are spreading false information. You are not listening to what was given in court. You are saying as if this boy intended to kill Austin, and I don't think he did. But listen, let's listen to what she had to say.
She has, that ABC has been allowing for far too long. This is willful misinformation. All right, here she is trying to convince the national audience at ABC that Karmelo Anthony did act in self-defense. She's not convinced that the jury was right in finding otherwise. Watch.
As she speaks about ABC allowing this willful misinformation to happen, Sirius XM is allowing this willful misinformation to happen. So we already know what Sunny had to say. Let's get back to Megyn.
He asked him, he dared him to put his hands on him. Anthony dared Metcalf to put his hands on him. He wasn't afraid. He was provoking him. You dishonest hack.
She's got a lot of nerve calling somebody a dishonest hack when she is a dishonest hack. And if you remember back in the Super Bowl, she was one of the ones that was upset that Bad Bunny performed, because remember, she said that football is as American as meatloaf and apple pie. And she didn't want Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl performing because he wasn't singing his songs in English. And the representation that he did on the field, she had such an issue with that. So you know what those are undertones of. And I don't even have to say it. Y'all can go ahead and say it if you choose to.
He went in there and intentionally provoked him. One of the many reasons why self-defense was not available to him.
No, those kids got on the stand and intentionally said that Karmelo provoked him. That's what happened. That's what happened. And you're spewing this and skipping over the details in the case that matter. And that's why he has this 6-member dream team that took his case on pro bono, because they're going to comb through this. And I pray to the Most High God that they have egg yolk, diarrhea, and baby puke all over their faces.
Why it did not fly. You cannot claim self-defense when you provoked the action against yourself. You cannot taunt someone, beg someone to lay hands on you, and then when they do so, stab them in the heart and say, oh, gee, I was just defending myself. You provoked it. The self-defense law understands that.
And guess who else understood that? The DA who told those children that, allegedly.
And separately, the jury understands that. Austin's dad, Jeff Metcalf, who was gagged for the course of this trial, like everybody else, and not able to defend his son, the murder victim, as he was being defamed by people like Jasmine Crockett. He is on a small media tour. He's not looking for fame. He's looking to rehabilitate his sweet son's image, who he did nothing wrong, nothing. And villains like Sonny Hostin are trying to argue, oh, he's so intimidating with his, big frame and to 130 pounds. You know what? You know what you wouldn't do, Sonny?
This sweet boy, this innocent, sweet boy, she says, who they said was a bully, whose father has spewed racist venom on the internet. She's offended that somebody said that his stature and his size was intimidating. Well, guess what, Megan? That's what they say about Black men. That their stature and their size and the color of their skin is intimidating. And that would have been enough for Austin to have stabbed Karmelo. If the roles were reversed, you would be singing a completely different tune, and we know it.
You're 130 pounds, good for you. I'm 120. You know what I wouldn't do? I would not go up to somebody who was 80 pounds more than I was and say, do it.
Somehow, I don't believe that. As much mouth as she has on this podcast, as nasty as her attitude is, people want to talk about Black women, and they want to talk about us being masculine, and they want to talk about we're aggressive because of the way that we talk. Listen to how she talks. And this is every podcast, every time. This is any time she is seen on camera. This is how she talks. She's got a nasty, venomous spirit inside of her. You can hear it. You could feel it. You could smell it. You could damn near taste it every time she opened her mouth.
Lay hands on me. Do it. I wouldn't do that. I would understand that there was a chance that he might actually do that. And then if I overreacted in response, I could be heading away to jail for 35 years.
So now she's saying that Karmelo Anthony overreacted. So now, chat, let me ask you guys this. What was the difference between what Megyn Kelly said, what Jeff Metcalf said, and what the two Black men said? What was the difference? Was there any difference? I don't see a difference. I see them feeding into the venom. I see them feeding into the narratives to villainize Karmelo Anthony. I don't see a difference. Wait a minute. Mel says he solved the Karmelo Anthony case today. Mel, if you would like to come up, I can drop the link for you. And if he decides to come up, and share with us, I want to share with y'all in the meantime that the lawyers have already put in their designation of a record on appeal. Okay, this was today. So it was announced that they were taking him on, and they're already at work. Oh, you can't come up at this time. Okay, no problem, Mel. Well, we'll have to go check that out. Let's see. He says he solved the Karmelo Anthony case. We're going to have to go over here and see what Mel is talking about. What is Mel talking about? Do you give me permission to be able to use your content, Mel? Oh, I don't see it. Did you already do a video on it or no? I don't see it. Thank you. Thank you, Mel. If y'all are not familiar with who Mel is from Watching the World 777. He was inside of the courtroom, and he is one of the people that I have listened to. I've listened to him, Nick at Night, and Queen Sheba Darling, to catch me up and keep me up on what's going on. But, you know, I do put everything together, and then I sit and I think on things. Okay, I don't think you did did you do a video today, Mel? Oh, not yet. A post. Okay, you did a post. So let's see what Mel posted today. Okay, so Mel did a post 32 minutes ago, and he said, after attending the Karmelo Anthony trial, reviewing the testimony, and carefully analyzing the video evidence, I believe I finally understand this case and how we got here. I now have a better understanding of why the prosecution did not ask the video expert to focus more attention on what occurred under the tent. I also believe I understand why neither Hunter nor Karmelo Anthony testified during the trial. If my analysis is correct, I believe many people will see this case differently once they fully understand the sequence of events under the tent. Okay, well, shout out to Mel. I appreciate all of the hard work that you do here on YouTube. Y'all be sure that y'all check his channel out. My mom said black women wasn't allowed to have men in the home, but white women could. I just actually told y'all exactly how the welfare system came to be and who it was originally set up for. I showed y'all all of that. But now I want to say this, okay? In this climate and time, when I decided to step out and add new components to my channel, to my broadcast, how I deliver my content, I never imagined in the world that I would be here. I never thought I would be here. With the content that I'm doing now, it's making me more aware of what's going on around us as a people, as a collective. The things that mainstream media is not telling us. I understand the importance of having a platform. I understand the importance of having people who are going to give it to you straight and honest. People who are going to tell you, these are my thoughts, these are my opinions. And everything that I have said and done is my thoughts. These are my independent feelings. And this is from me looking at everything that has happened and analyzing it. But in covering this Karmelo Anthony case, it seems that it has brought the undertones of what's been bubbling underneath the surface to a roaring boil, to the point where now it's on the surface. We're seeing a lot of crimes that are happening, and it's causing a lot of racial tension in this country. Let me be very clear with my stance on things. There is a certain mindset that I don't agree to. And I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're Indian. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care where you're from, what ethnicity group you identify as. If you have a mentality that is racist, I don't want to deal with that. Because us having a racist mentality against one another is the problem. However, I'm going to call out the coonery, the buffoonery, the tomfoolery. I'm going to call it out every time. And what I can't understand for the life of me is people who didn't even bother. Now, I'm one of those people that did not go down there to the Karmelo Anthony case, but I had reliable people that I went to that I knew were going to report it and give it to you raw, real, and in their thoughts from their observations. And I'm going to tell you something. Nick at Night, Queen Sheba Darling, and Mel, All of their notes aligned with one another because they were in that courtroom writing down what was happening, giving what they observed. So I trust them. So even though I wasn't in the courtroom, I watched them. I didn't bother to watch mainstream media because mainstream media was not giving it to us straight. They were feeding us a narrative. So I knew where to go. And while I do not proclaim myself to be somebody who was in that courtroom, I am somebody who's taking what I was given from the courtroom and analyzing for myself. Am I always correct? No, I'm not always correct. Does my mind change? Yes, it does, according to evidence that is given to me. My opinion is subject to change based on the evidence that is presented to me. Because again, these are my thoughts and my opinions. As a collective, majority of us share those same thoughts and those same opinions. But they are subject to change based on evidence presented in front of us. But one thing that I will not do is get up here and be anything less than myself, be authentic with y'all, and give y'all the truth from my perspective. This went longer than what I thought, especially when I didn't even plan on coming live. I was supposed to take my behind the bed. But I felt like I needed to speak on this. I am very disappointed in a lot of our people who are out here spreading narratives. I'm not upset if someone says to me, I don't feel that Karmelo is innocent because this, and this. That's fine. You're entitled to that opinion, and it doesn't make me look at you any differently. But when you get up here and you start spewing racist narratives against your own people, when you start spewing ideologies that are coming from a harmful, hurtful space, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. So I don't want anyone feeling like because we share a difference in opinion that automatically, in my mind, that makes you a racist. It doesn't. What makes you a racist is the mindset that you have, how you're spewing things. You're calling Karmelo a monster, a piece of shit? Really? The truth is, this situation was a horrible, messed up situation where people on both sides made horrible decisions, and it was a horrible outcome. Again, my heart goes out to Carmelo Anthony's mother and Austin Metcalf's mothers. And that's not to disregard the fathers. But mothers, we share a different kind of bond with our children. Because for 9 months, technically 10, we are one with these children. We carry them in our bodies. We feed them and nurse them from our bodies, some of us. And we have a different bond and connection to our children. And while the fathers are ailing, I know the mothers are crushed on the inside. So my heart goes out to both. And in the end, I pray that Karmelo gets justice. Because 35 years is too much. I want to thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in with me this evening. I appreciate each and every one of you. I don't care if you came in from the beginning and stayed all the way to now. You came in the middle or you came in 5 minutes ago. I appreciate every view, every like, every piece of engagement in each one of you in the comment section. I love y'all so very much. Thank y'all for expanding the Henny Gang. Shout out to the new subscribers to the channel. I look forward to continuing to bring you great content, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Until then, rest well, everyone. Good night. 'Cause I don't want this